what's on your mind. We've noticed how much time our husbands spent talking about you lately. Oh, really? I didn't mean to cause any trouble. No, it's not trouble at all. In fact, we were hoping you could spend some quality time with our husbands. Quality time? Once upon a time, in a small village in Africa, there lived a young girl named Adaobi. She was known for her beauty and charm, but unfortunately, she was also known as the village prostitute. Adaobi's parents had passed away when she was just a young girl, leaving her to fend for herself. With no one to guide her, Adaobi turned to the oldest profession in the village, prostitution. As she grew older, Adaobi became more and more popular with the men in the village. They would come to her one by one, seeking her services. Adaobi would do whatever they asked of her for a small fee, and in return, she would receive food, clothes, and sometimes even money. Adaobi often walked around the village at night, talking to different men. People say Adaobi goes to the city sometimes and comes back with lots of money. Some villagers saw Adaobi with different men in secluded places. Adaobi sometimes wears flashy clothes and jewelry that no one else in the village has. People say Adaobi spends a lot of time at the local bar, flirting with customers. Some villagers saw Adaobi going into strange houses with men who weren't from the village. Adaobi sometimes asks for money from people in exchange for favors. Adaobi's neighbors gossip about her, saying she's not living a respectful life. Adaobi was seen arguing with a man who didn't want to pay her for her services. Despite engaging in such activities, Adaobi always maintained a kind heart and a gentle spirit. The wives of the young men in the village were not happy with Adaobi's presence. They feared that their husbands will fall under her spell and leave them for the beautiful young girl. But little did they know, Adaobi had a secret that no one in the village knew about. One day, a new chief was appointed in the village. He was a very wealthy man and he had a beautiful wife named Ifunanya. The chief was known for his hot temper and his harsh treatment towards his wife. But Ifunanya had heard about Adaobi's reputation and how she renders her services to men, and she decided to seek her help. Maybe if my husband spends time with Adaobi, he will become more calm and gentle. She went to Adaobi's hut and begged her to sleep with the chief, hoping that it will calm his anger and bring peace to their marriage. Adaobi was taken aback by Ifunanya's request. She had always refused to sleep with married men, but something about Ifunanya's plea touched her heart. She agreed to help her, but only on one condition. The chief must never find out she was the one that asked her to do it. Ifunanya agreed and promised to keep it a secret. That night, Adaobi went to the chief's hut and spent the entire night talking and chatting to him. She shared stories of her childhood and the struggles she faced in the village. Adaobi shared with the chief that she lost her parents at a very young age and had to fend for herself in the village. She told him about the struggles she faced and how she felt lonely and misunderstood by the villagers. Adaobi shared with the chief that spending time with men was her way of showing them that there is nothing outside their homes that they can truly love their wife. She believed that by experiencing her company, men could appreciate and cherish their wives and home more. She saw herself as a reminder of the importance of family and fidelity. The chief was surprised by her kind words and wisdom and found himself opening up to her. As the nights went on, The conversation turned into laughter, and before they knew it, the sun was rising. Adaobi left the chief's hut, and he felt a sense of peace that had never felt before. The next day, the village was buzzing with the news that the chief and Adaobi had spent the night together. The other wives were shocked and angry, and they demanded that Adaobi be punished. But Ifunanya came forward and revealed the truth, that Adaobi had not slept with the chief, but had instead helped him through their conversations. She never slept with any of the men who came to her. Instead, she gave them words of comfort and listening to their problems. In return, the men felt fulfilled and satisfied, and they would go home to their wives with a renounced sense of love and appreciation. The wives were amazed and felt ashamed of jumping to conclusions. The chief, on the other hand, was grateful to Adaobi for helping him see the error of his ways. He asked her to be his advisor and promised to treat his wife with love and respect. From that day on, Adaobi's act of kindness had not only saved a marriage, but had also changed the mindset of the entire village. From that day on, Adaobi's reputation changed. She was no longer known as the village prostitute, but instead, she became known as the wise woman who could mend broken relationships. The wives now turned to her for advice, and they all wanted Adaobi to spend quality time with their husbands. The wives in the village gathered, hoping to talk to Adaobi. The wives' representatives said, "Adaobi, could we have a word with you? Of course, young wives of our community, what's on your mind? We've noticed how much time our husbands spent talking about you lately." "Oh, really? I didn't mean to cause any trouble." No, it's not trouble at all. In fact, we were hoping you could spend some quality time with our husbands." Quality time? Yes, you see, our husbands always come back from conversations with you so happy and inspired. We thought if they could spend more time with you, it might strengthen our relationship. That's thoughtful, I see. Well, I'll be happy to spend some time with them. What do you have in mind? Maybe just some gathering where you could share your wisdom and stories with them. They always come back with such interesting tales from your conversations. Adaobi now smiling. "I would love that. Let's organize something soon. It's important to strengthen our bond as a community." All the men in the village respected and admired Adaobi for her genuine wisdom. In the end, Adaobi's kindness and compassion had a ripple effect, bringing peace and harmony to the village. She had taught the villagers an important lesson: not to judge someone based on rumors, but to take the time to get to know them. And most importantly, she showed them that even the most unlikely person can have a heart of gold. And so, dear listeners, always remember to be kind and compassionate towards others, just like Adaobi. You never know whose life you might change with your small acts of kindness, and never judge a book by its cover. Thank you so much for watching. If you like our videos, please subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to share this story with your family and your friends. Please check out the stories you see on your screen. I promise you're going to like them. Till we see you again in our next story. Goodbye.